Hey, everybody, it's the Catholic Talk Show, and we want to talk to you about an awesome experience for men this summer with Esto Vir Expeditions.
That's right. Esto Vir Expedition takes Catholic men out into the great wild that God created and gives them opportunities to pray with other like-minded men in some of the most beautiful areas of the country.
Esto Vir comes from the Latin to be a man. Esto, calling to mind being. Vir, man. When you think of vir, you think of virtue. And when you get together with other men in an expedition, you're challenging, yourself in a discipline where you're climbing mountains, going out fishing, and doing some things that really kind of muster up that kind of masculinity, calling to mind who we are as men, and striving for virtue.
Yeah, I mean, we did a pilot this summer. Father Rich and I did a pilot this summer in Colorado. And, man, it went great. We had 25 men from all over the country, 3 priests. The first day we all got to know each other and just kind of shed a lot of the things that we brought with us from our daily interactions with the world. And eventually it got to the point where we just became a band of brothers that's still in contact today.
And these were men from across the country, different ages, some guys in their 20s, even some guys in their 60s, hiking mountains like billy goats. I mean, it was incredible of an experience where really I went back, my priesthood was renewed. I felt like I was connected with brothers in a different type of a way. And, like you said, we're still in touch.
Yeah.
These trips kind of bring to mind the tradition of great saints and blessings like Pier Giorgio Frassati, John Paul II and his great love for the outdoors. And it's a way that men can get together. So often in our life, the guys that other men hang out with, it's usually let's go have chicken wings and beer and watch a football game or something, kind of frivolous. Yeah. And you come home and you're not recharged. You're not a better man for having done that experience. You're usually probably a more tired, maybe slightly hungover and a little bit fatter dude, right?
Yeah.
But when you go on a trip like this, you're doing something that not only re-engages you with your faith, but it also reinvigorates you that when you come home from a trip like this, you're a better man to your parents, to your children, to your wives, to your community, and to your God. And that's what these trips are so necessary for. So there's going to be 5 of these expeditions coming up in early summer 2022. There's going to be 3 in Pagosa Springs, Colorado, which is really one of the most beautiful locations in the country.
Yeah, it is.
It's
and
gorgeous.
then 2 in Bozeman, Montana, which, if Pagosa isn't the most beautiful, then it's Bozeman. Yeah. So Ryan, you did a great job finding these places, finding the activities, and putting people in a place to where they can really flourish. Why don't you tell them about some of the activities that happen here?
Yeah, well, the one in Pagosa Springs, we went rafting the first day, and everybody just immediately bonded. After that, we went to the hot springs there, where they've got the deepest hot springs in the world there. And they, have them all in like hot tubs that overlook a beautiful river. And then we watched the sunset from a waterfall in a valley. It was just really a beautiful first day. The second day, we went on about a 9-mile hike, and we hiked to these beautiful waterfalls, and the guys just sat there and just pondered the beauty of God. We talk on the way, we get to know each other, have a really, really good food. We had chefs coming from Houston that cooked some amazing food for us. And then on the last day, we did a combination of fly fishing and hiking. This year, we went out and scouted a new location in Bozeman, Montana. And there's other things that we're going to be adding to this trip, mainly ATV excursions on mountain roads in some of these beautiful areas.
But Ryan, there's stuff for guys too who maybe they have a bum knee like our own Father Rich, or maybe someone who's not really in the shape, or maybe a little bit too old to do a 9-mile hike. You have stuff planned for those people as well.
Amazing stuff planned. Just lakes that are about 9,000 feet above sea level with mountains just cascading into it.
So there's things more rigorous and things more chill, things that for everyone. Right. And Father Rich, there's also a lot of great stuff for the spiritual side, right? This is your physical side, but then the spiritual side, there's a lot going on too.
Yeah, every morning that we celebrate Mass and we start the day in prayer, and the remaining part of the day is really left to the organic nature of men getting together and having conversation along the way. And you could even employ silence. So there was greater periods of time where I was on the path of hiking and just working out the internal spiritual life of my journey, and just reflecting on where God has brought me and how I've come to this place. And then all of a sudden a brother would come up right next to me, and next thing you know, I'm hearing a confession.
Yeah.
So it was just really very, very special. And then we finished the day with just sharing of graces and a closing evening prayer. It's very simple format. We don't want it to be like conferences or like a typical retreat.
Retreats and
This
pilgrimages.
is expedition.
Yeah, retreats and pilgrimages don't always jive with the way that a guy likes to, live.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been to retreats and stuff like that, and there's nothing wrong with them, but sometimes they can be pretty feminine.
Yeah.
They can be very kind of antithetical to the nature of a man. It's very, let's go listen to a talk, and then we're going to have this group, and then we're going to walk in, and then we're going to do this little activity.
Yeah.
I mean, Esto Vir provides the opportunity for men to really be fully alive, and that is the glory of God, as a man fully alive.
Yeah,
and Esto Vir provides that.
Yeah, a lot of guys said that. They said that they had a retreat experience in their souls, but they had so much fun and they enjoyed hanging out with people. God does most of the work because you're in the great outdoors.
Amen.
And I mean,
He does the heavy lifting.
We're going to beautiful
Truly.
places. I mean, absolutely beautiful places. And it's just so hard not to interact with God. And I mean, even a priest that came, which there's also opportunities if you can't make it, or if you're going and you want to sponsor a priest, you can see that area in the website. We're actually taking funds from putting funds into a nonprofit that's turning around and sponsoring priests.
Because priests, you guys need this stuff too. I mean, you guys are working hard. You're in offices. So often the modern priesthood and the demands of it is paperwork. Your administrators, your CEOs, your budget managers. And what you're really called to be is a minister and a dispenser of the graces of the sacrament of Jesus Christ and his church. But you're also men too. And I think these provide a great opportunity for priests too.
And even with some of the expectations on priests, and this is what we've talked about from the very beginning, is, we're hoping that brother priests, of mine can go on this type of retreat and really just chill and just have time with other brothers, not have any expectations on their ministry, and just relax and get into nature and have moments of catharsis and conversation and just silence and being in nature, like you said, because God does the heavy lifting. And that was clearly the experience of all of the priests that were on this pilot that we ran. And, I have to say this too. Priests need good brothers, and having 3 of my parishioners attend this pilot, and the relationship that I have with them, that I know I've got support. I know I've got my back covered. And, to have guys from across the country now that there's a real strong bond there, this is only going to grow, and we want more people to be a part of this movement.
Yeah, and we're all talking with each other. We're all meeting with each other in person. We're going out with one of them tonight for dinner. Guys are having surgeries on their children for, very serious things, and we're all praying for one another. Some guys went home and just got in an RV and took their families out and started making memories with them. Guys are, praying rosaries for one another and sharing some vulnerable things in their lives and asking other guys for prayers. So we're really building a community of guys around this. And, we did a pilot because we wanted to make sure that God was there and present and looking at this and anointing it with his love and his favor for us. And boy, I was just sure of that when we were done. And so, this year we're expanding. We have a great model. We found a great place in Bozeman. And
again, I'm going to be going on that trip. That's awesome. I've always wanted
Good.
to go to Bozeman, and I can't wait.
That's great. This place is awesome. It's so beautiful. And another thing too is that there's a lot of flexibility. Like the itinerary is pretty stringent, I would say, for some people. And, some guys are like, hey, you know what? It's been a half day of fly fishing and I don't want to go hiking. I just want to go back to the lake house, sit there and just read a book and ponder God's beauty and have conversation with other guys. One of them was a priest, and he said this was the best retreat I've ever been on in my life.
And you look at priests' lives, right? We're constantly either doing retreats, preaching retreats, attending diocesan retreats or diocesan convocation. And I got to say, a lot of times you come out of those situations and you're more exhausted than you're going in.
That's right.
Esto Vir Expedition.
Work piling up back at the parish.
Exactly. And then you got to tackle that when you come back.
Yeah.
With the expedition, literally renewal.
Yeah.
Just absolute renewal.
And it's a really interesting thing, the way organically this evolved. After everybody signed up, we had some Zoom calls and we talked about packing lists and some of the things that we're going to be bringing and some of the things that we're going to be doing and just talking with everybody. So we had Zoom calls. We were getting to know each other before we were even headed out.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that I think is really important to know, because there, you are expanding it, but it is still very limited. There's going to be 5 expeditions, okay?
Yeah.
Each one can accommodate 20 men. Okay, that's 100 spots. The last one filled up within 3 weeks of it being open.
And there was a waiting list, I think, of up to 70 people.
Yeah, so these are going to fill up really fast. Now, there's a couple men whose wives bought this for them as a gift, right? Hey, husband, go out and experience something. Go get a good trip, get some relax, come back to me a better man.
Yeah.
So if you go to Esto Vir Expeditions, that's ESTOVIR expeditions.com. There's a link below. You can learn how you can register. There's a lot of different trips. There's 5 different dates, 3 in Colorado, 2 in Montana. They're going to fill up fast. Reserve as soon as you can. And this is a cool thing to do. Maybe your son's just getting out of college and you want to reconnect with him before he goes off into his full life as a man. Great idea. Maybe you want to take your dad. Maybe you want to take your brother. Maybe you and a couple guys from your parish want to do this.
All those guys are on the wait list right now.
You know?
Everybody in that situation. I've got one dad bringing 2 of his sons.
And maybe you're a priest and you have to do a couple of your retreats a year. This satisfies
Or
that.
maybe you're worried about your priest because he's working too hard.
Yeah.
Like,
this makes a great gift for your parish, parishioners. Come together.
Yeah.
Buy this for your priest and send them out and have them renewed. I mean, there's so many reasons to go on it. There's a lot of options, but they're very limited. But look, getting a chance to hike, fish, pray, have confession, celebrate mass, be with dudes, eat good food, have a drink, smoke a cigar. This is the fullness of life, right? Yeah. And this is what you're called to do. So
one of the things somebody said on the trip last year was like, we all are serious about our faith, and we bought this trip because we knew that other people were going to be serious about their faith, and we were all in different places in our journey, and to see them all collide and come together in charity and fraternal bond, it was a really beautiful thing. Really beautiful.
I mean, they're making friends that'll last a lifetime.
That's
right.
exactly
I mean,
right.
you can't spend 3 days, 4 days with brothers out in the wild praying without having it really affect that relationship. You know?
Yeah.
So don't waste any more time. Go to EstoVirExpeditions.com and all the information's there. And let's sign up some friends and let's develop this beautiful ministry.
Amen.
See you out in the wild.